Arsenic and Old Lace, directed by Nellie Cook. Please take this time to silence all cell phones and take notice of our emergency exits at the front, rear, and side of the theater. There will be a 15-minute intermission after the first act and a 5-minute intermission after the second act. Our next production will be 1776, April 18th through the 21st, directed by Ben Wren and Katie Dunlap. Now please sit back, relax, and enjoy Arsenic and Old Lace.
Yes, indeed. My sister Martha and I have been talking all week about your sermon on Sunday. It's really wonderful, Dr. Harper. In just 2 short years, you've really taken on the spirit of Brooklyn.
Well, that's very gratifying, Miss Brewster.
Living here as we do right next to the church, we've seen so many ministers come and go. The spirit of Brooklyn, we always say, is friendliness. And your sermons aren't so much sermons as friendly talks.
I've always enjoyed my talks with Cardinal Gibbons. Or have I met him yet?
No, dear, not yet. Are the biscuits good?
Ha! Bully!
Dr. Harper, won't you have another biscuit?
No, thank you. I'm afraid I won't have any appetite for dinner now. I always eat too many of your biscuits just to taste that lovely jam.
Oh, but you haven't tried the quince. We always put a little apple in with it just to take the tartness out of it.
No, thank you.
I'll send you over a jar.
No, no. You keep it here so I can be sure to have your biscuits.
I do hope they won't make us use that dreadful imitation flour again. I blame this war trouble. It may not be very charitable of me, but I've almost come to the conclusion that this Mr. Hitler isn't a Christian.
If only Europe were on another planet. Europe, sir. Yes, Daddy. Point your gun the other way! God. To the west! There's your enemy, there's your danger!
Teddy.
Japan! Oh, why? Yes.
Teddy.
No, not so much talk of Europe, more talk of the canal.
Well, let's not talk war at all. Won't you have another cup of tea, dear?
No, thank you.
Dr. Harper?
No, thank you. You know, Miss Abby, war and violence seem far removed from these surroundings.
Yes. It is peaceful here, isn't it?
Yes, peaceful. The virtues of another age. They're all here in this house. The gentle virtues of candlelight, and good manners, and low taxes.
This is one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. It's just as it was when Grandfather Brewster built and furnished it so long ago, except for the electricity, of course. And we try to use that as little as possible. It was Mortimer who persuaded us to have it put in.
Yes, your nephew seems to exist solely by electric light.
Well, he has to work so late, poor dear. I understand that Mortimer's taking Elaine to the theater again tonight. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here shortly.
Oh, delighted!
We're so glad that it's Elaine that Mortimer takes to the theater.
Yes, it is a new experience for me to have to wait up until 3 in the morning for my daughter to be brought home.
Oh, Dr. Harper, I hope you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well,
Like Sister Martha and I would feel so guilty if you did, because it was here in this house that Elaine met Mortimer.
of course, Miss Abby. And I will say immediately that I believe Mortimer himself to be quite a worthy gentleman. But I must also say that I've been witnessing the growing intimacy between him and my daughter with some trepidation. For one reason, Miss Abby.
Oh, you mean his stomach, Dr. Harper?
Stomach?
Oh, his dyspepsia. He suffers so with it, the poor boy.
No, Miss Abby. I'll be frank. I was referring to your nephew's unfortunate connection to the theater.
Oh, you need not worry about that, Dr. Harper. Why, Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
I know, Miss Abby, I know. But a dramatic critic is constantly exposed to the theater. And one would think that some of them might develop an interest in it.
Oh, no, not Mortimer. Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes, he writes awful things about the theater. But as he says, the theater can't last much longer anyway, but it's a living. Yes, I think if we give the theater a year or two, perhaps. Oh.
to report.
Splendid, thank you. At ease.
You know Dr. Harper.
Sure. Hello, Dr. Hopper.
Oh, we came here for the toys for the Christmas fund.
Oh, yes!
Well, that's splendid work you're gonna do. Fixing up discarded toys to give poor children a happier Christmas.
Nah, it gives us something to do when we have to sit around the station, get tired of playing cards, and then you start playing your gun. And the first thing you know, bang! You shot yourself in the foot.
Teddy, would you go upstairs and get that box in your Aunt Martha's room? And how is Mrs. Brophy? Mrs. Brophy has been quite ill.
Oh, pneumonia.
Well, I'm sorry to hear.
Shot! A little weak still, but I think she's gonna pull through.
Oh, I'll give you some broth to take to her.
Father, Miss Abby, you've done so much for her already.
Oh, we just made it this morning, and Martha said to come to Mr. Benitsky. Now, sit down and be comfortable, all of you. I won't be a minute.
You know, she really shouldn't go through all that trouble.
Listen, try to stop her or her sister from doing anything nice. And for nothing. They don't even care how you vote.
You know, when I got my call to Brooklyn, we moved next door, my wife wasn't well. When she died, for some months before, well, if I have known what pure kindness and absolute generosity are, it's because I have known the Brewster sisters.
Colonel, you promised you wouldn't do that.
But I have to call a cabinet meeting if I'm to get a release of those supplies.
You know, he used to do that in the middle of the night, and the neighbors would call us and raise Cain. I mean, they're a little scared of him anyway.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Suppose he thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt. There's a lot worse people he could think he was.
Damn shame. A nice family like this, hatching a cuckoo.
Well, his father, the old girl's brother, was some sort of a genius, wasn't he? And their father, Teddy's grandfather, seems to me I've heard he was a little crazy too.
Yeah, crazy like a fox. He made $1 million.
Really? Here in Brooklyn?
Yeah, patent medicine. He was a quack or something like that. Old Sergeant Edwards remembers him. He used to use this house as some sort of clinic, and he would try him out on people.
And he used to make mistakes occasionally too.
But the department didn't bother him much on account that he was pretty useful with autopsies sometimes, especially the poison cases.
Well, whatever he did, he left his daughter set for life, thank God for that.
Not that they ever spent any of it on themselves.
Yes, I'm quite well aware of their charities.
You don't know the tenth of it. When I was with the missing persons bureau, I was trying to trace down an old man that we never did find. Did you know that there's a renting agency that has this house down on its list for furnished rooms? They don't do rooms. But you can bet that anybody who goes in here looking for a room goes away with a good meal and probably a few dollars in their cake.
You know, it's just their way of digging up people and trying to do some good too.
Well, isn't this nice?
Good afternoon, Miss Brewster.
How do you do, Mr. Brophy and Dr. Harper and Mr. Klein?
How you doing, Miss Brewster? We dropped by to get the Christmas toys.
Oh, Teddy's Army and Navy. They wear out, but they're all packed.
Oh, the colonel's upstairs after them. I guess the cabinet has to okay it first.
Oh, yes, of course. How is Mrs. Brophy?
Oh, she's doing fine. Your sister's in the kitchen getting me some soup to take home to her.
Well, we made it this morning, and I just took some to a poor old man who broke ever so many bones.
Oh, Martha, you're back. How is Mr. Benitsky?
Well, dear, it's very serious, I'm afraid. The doctor was there, and they will have to amputate in the morning.
Can we be present?
I did ask, but they said it was against the rules of the hospital.
Well, you couldn't give any service, and you must spare something for yourself.
Here's the broth, Mr. Brophy. Make sure it's good and hot.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Ah, this is fine. It'll make a lot of people happy. Whew. Now, Malboy is nuts about soldiers.
That's General Miles. I retired him. the organ!
Oh, now, Teddy, put that back.
But the organ goes to Australia!
Now, Teddy.
No, he's been promised the Fighting Bob Evans.
But, Teddy,
What does it matter what kid gets it? Bobby Evans? Izzy Cohen? Well, run along, ma'am, and thank you very much.
Not at all.
Well, I'd better get going.
Oh, before you go, Dr. Harper.
Charge! Charge the blockhouse!
Blockhouse.
well, you see, the stairs are always San Juan Hill.
Have you ever tried convincing him he's not Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt.
Once a long time ago, do you remember, Martha, we thought if he could be George Washington, it would be a change for him.
But he hid under his bed for days, and he just wouldn't be anybody.
And we'd so much rather he'd be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, as long as he's happy. And more importantly, as long as you're happy. You'll see that he signs these.
What are those? Dr. Harper's made arrangements for Teddy to go to Happy Dale Sanitarium after we pass on.
But why must Teddy sign any papers now?
It's better to have it all settled. The good Lord should take you suddenly. We might not be able to convince Teddy to commit himself. And then that would involve unpleasant details. Mr. Witherspoon understands that these are to be filed away until such time as he uses them.
Well, Mr. Witherspoon, who is he?
Oh, he's the superintendent at Happy Dale.
Dr. Harper has arranged for Mr. Witherspoon to come tomorrow or the next day to meet Teddy.
Well, I'd better get going or else Elaine will be over here looking for him.
Well, give our love to Elaine, and Dr. Harper, please don't think harshly of Mortimer because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do those things.
I just finished tea. Why so late?
And dinner's going to be late too.
So why?
Teddy, great news! You're going to Panama to dig another lock for the canal.
Bully, just bully, delighted. I shall prepare for the journey at once. Oh. Charge!
Oh, Abby, while I was out, yes, dear, I didn't know when you would be back, and Dr. Harper was coming.
But all by yourself?
Oh, I got along just fine.
I'll run right down and look.
No, dear. Look in the window seat. Oh. It's Elaine. Come in, dear.
Good afternoon, Miss Abby. Good afternoon, Miss Martha. Oh, I thought Father was here.
Well, he just this moment left. Didn't you meet him?
No, I took the shortcut through the cemetery. Mortimer hasn't come yet.
No, dear.
Oh, he asked me to meet him here. Mind if I wait?
Not at all. Please, come and sit down.
But we must talk to Mortimer about doing this to you.
Doing what?
Well, you see, Mortimer was brought up to know better. When a gentleman is taking a young lady out, he must call for her at her house.
Oh, there's something about calling for a girl at a parsonage that discourages any man who doesn't embroider.
Well, he's done this too often. We're going to speak to him about it.
Please don't. After young men whose idea of nightlife was to take me to a prayer meeting, it's wonderful to go to the theater almost every night of my life.
Oh, well, it is a comfort for us too, dear, because if Mortimer has to see the kinds of plays that he has to see, at least he is sitting next to a minister's daughter.
Oh, Elaine, what must you think of us? Not having the tea cleared away. Oh,
Well, yes, dear, Mortimer should be here any moment.
Yes, Father must have been surprised to not find me at home. I'd better run over and tell him good night.
Well, I'm so sorry that you missed him.
If Mortimer comes, you tell him I'll be right back. Hello, Mort.
Hello, Elaine. Hello, Aunt Martha.
Abby, Mortimer is back.
Were you going somewhere?
I was just going over to tell Father not to wait up for me tonight.
I didn't know that was still being done, even in Brooklyn.
hello, Mortimer.
Hello, Aunt Abby.
How are you, dear?
Just fine. And you look well. You haven't changed much since yesterday.
Oh, that's right, it was yesterday, wasn't it? Well, we're seeing a lot of you these days. Well, come in, both of you. Sit down, sit down.
Abby, don't we have something to do in the kitchen?
Huh?
The tea things?
Oh, yes, the tea things. Well, just make yourselves at home.
Yes, just make yourselves at home.
Well, can't you take a hint?
No, that was pretty obvious. A lack of inventiveness, I should say.
Yes, that's exactly what you'd say.
Where do you want to go for dinner?
I don't care. I'm not very hungry.
Well, I just had breakfast. Suppose we wait until after the show.
But that'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight. From what I've heard about it, we'll be at Blake's by 10 o'clock.
You ought to be fair to these plays.
Are these plays fair to me?
I've never seen you walk out on a musical.
That musical isn't opening tonight.
No?
Well, darling, you'll have to learn the rules. With a musical, there are always 4 changes of title and 3 postponements. They liked it in New Haven, but it needs a lot of work.
I was hoping for a musical.
You have such a light mind.
Not a bit. Musicals somehow have a humanizing effect on you. After a serious play, we join the proletariat in the subway and I listen to a lecture on drama. After a musical, you bring me home in a taxi and make a few passes.
Now, darling, that's a very inaccurate piece of reporting.
Oh, I will admit, after the Berman play, you told me I had an authentic beauty. And that's a hell of a thing to say to a girl. It wasn't until after our first musical you told me I have nice legs. And I have, too.
For a minister's daughter, you know a lot about art. Where'd you learn it?
In the choir loft.
I'll explain that to you sometime, darling. The close connection between eroticism and religion.
Oh, religion never gets as high as the choir loft. Which reminds me, I'd better run over and tell Father not to wait up for me tonight.
I've never been able to rationalize it.
What?
My falling in love with a girl who lives in Brooklyn.
Falling in love? You're not stooping to the articulate, are you?
If I want to regain my self-respect, I'll have to keep you in New York.
Did you say keep?
No. I've come to the conclusion you're holding out for the legalities.
I can afford to be a good girl for quite a few years yet.
I can't wait that long. Where can we be married in a hurry? Say, tonight.
I'm afraid Father will insist on a fish meeting.
Oh, God, I'll bet your father can make even the marriage service sound pedestrian.
Are you by chance writing a review of it?
Forgive me, darling. It's an occupational disease. I may give that play tonight a good notice.
Now, darling, don't pretend you love me that much.
Be sure to tell your father not to wait up tonight.
I think tonight I'd better tell him to wait up.
I'll telephone Winchell to publish the banns.
Nevertheless.
All right, everything formal and legal, but not later than next month.
Oh, darling, I'll talk it over with Father and set the date.
No, we'll have to see what's in rehearsal first. There'll be a lot of other first nights in October.
Oh.
Hello, Mortimer!
How are you, Mr. President?
Bully, just bully. Now, what news have you brought?
Just this, Mr. President. The country is squarely behind you.
Oh, I know it's wonderful, isn't it? Well, goodbye. No, goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama!
Panama is a seller. He digs locks for the canal down there.
You're so sweet with him, and he's so fond of you.
Well, he was always my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
There's another brother. John.
I've never heard of him. Your aunts never mentioned him.
No, we don't like to talk about Jonathan. He left Brooklyn very early, by request. Jonathan was the kind of boy who liked to cut worms in two with his teeth.
What became of him?
I don't know. He wanted to become a surgeon like grandfather, but he didn't want to go to medical school first. His practice got him into trouble.
Aren't you two
going to be late for the theater?
We're skipping dinner. We won't have to start for half an hour.
Oh, in that case, well, I'll leave you two alone together
Oh.
again.
Don't bother, darling. I'm going to run over and speak with Father. Before I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little. I'll be right back. I'll cut through the cemetery.
If the prayer isn't too long, I have time to lead you beside the still waters.
Mortimer, that's the first time I've ever heard you quote the Bible. We knew Elaine would be a good influence on you.
By the way, I'm going to marry her.
What? Oh, darling! Oh, that's wonderful! That's wonderful! Congratulations! Martha, come in here. I have wonderful news. Elaine and Mortimer are going to be married!
Oh, Mortimer.
We hoped it would happen just like this.
And Elaine must be the happiest girl in the world.
Oh,
Happy? You just look at her leaping over those gravestones. Say, what's that?
What's what, dear?
See that statue there? That's a Horridina Cornina.
No, dear, that's Emma B. Stout ascending to heaven.
No. See up there on Mrs. Stout's left ear, that bird. That's a red-crested swallow. I've only ever seen one of those before in my life.
I don't know how you could be thinking about a bird right now with Elaine and the engagement and everything.
It's a vanishing species. The row was very fond of them. By the way, I left a large envelope here last week. It contained one of the chapters of my book on Thoreau. Have you seen it?
Well, if you've left it here, dear, it should be here somewhere.
When are you going to be married? What are your plans? Surely there's something more you can tell us about Elaine.
Elaine? Oh, yes. Elaine thought it was brilliant.
What was, dear?
My chapter on Thoreau.
Now, when Elaine comes back, I think we should have a little celebration. We must drink to their happiness. Is there any of that Lady Baltimore cake left?
Yes.
And I'll open a bottle of wine.
Oh, and just to think it happened right here in this room.
Yes.
Where could I put that?
Well, tonight when you're sitting in the theater beside your fiancé, I hope the play is one you can really enjoy. Maybe something romantic. What's it called?
Murder will out.
Oh.
When the curtain comes up, the first thing you'll see will be a dead body.
Yes, Mortimer.
You were going to make plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium, Happydale?
Oh, yes, Dr. Harper was here today, and he brought the papers for Teddy to sign. Yes, here they are.
He's got to sign them right away.
Oh, dear, I don't think there's such hurry as that.
No.
He's got to sign them this minute. He's down in the cellar. Get him up here right away.
Oh, no, I don't believe there is that much of a hurry.
Well, no. When Teddy's down there working on the lock, you can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy's got to go to Happydale now. Tonight.
No, dear, that's not until we're gone.
Right away, I tell you. Right away.
Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? You know we'll never be separated from Teddy as long as we live.
Darlings, I'm frankly sorry, but I have some shocking news for you. Now, you know, we've all got to try and keep our heads. We've all sort of humored Teddy because we thought he was harmless.
But he is harmless.
He was harmless. That's why he has to go to Happydale, why he has to be confined.
Mortimer, why have you suddenly turned against Teddy, your own brother?
Perhaps you know sometime. Might as well know. Teddy's killer.
Oh, nonsense, dear.
There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
You.
That has,
No.
Yes, it has nothing to do with Teddy.
Now, I want you just to forget about it. Forget the whole thing.
Forget?
Well, we never dreamed you'd peek. except he's a Methodist.
Oh.
That's all you know about him. Well, how did he get here? What happened to him?
Well, he died, dear.
Martha, men don't just get into window seats and die.
No, he died first.
Well, how?
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine that had poison in it.
How did the poison get in the wine?
Well, you see, dear, we put it in the wine because it's less noticeable. When we put it in tea, it has a distinct odor.
You put it in the wine.
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming to tea.
So you knew what you had done. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body.
Well, that wouldn't have been very nice at tea. Now, you know the whole thing. I want you to just forget about it. I think Martha and I have a right to our own little secrets.
Yes, and don't you tell Elaine. Oh, Abby, while I was out, I bumped into Mrs. Schultz, and she's doing much, much better. But she would like us to take Junior to the movies again.
Well, we must do that tomorrow or the next day.
Yes, but this time we will go where we want to go. I will not allow Junior to drag me into another one of those scary pictures.
Hello, City Desk. Hello, Al. Do you know who this is? That's right. Say, Al, when I left the office, I told you where I was going, remember? Well, where did I say? Uh-huh. Well, it would take me about half an hour to get to Brooklyn. What time have you got? That's right. I must be here. Don't I be on Martha? Come in here.
Yes, dear.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in there.
Yes, we know, Mr. Hoskins.
Oh, good heavens. I can't turn you over to the police. What am I going to do?
Well, for one thing, you're going to stop being so excited.
And for pity's sake, stop worrying. We told you to forget the whole thing.
Forget! Dear, how can I make you realize that something has to be done?
Mortimer, behave yourself. You're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
Mr. Hotchkiss is a dead...
Hoskins here.
Well, whatever. You can't just leave him in there.
Well, we don't intend to, dear.
No, Teddy's down in the cellar now digging the lock.
You mean you're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Well, that's what we did with the others.
No, you're not. Others.
The other gentleman.
When you say others, you mean others, more than one others.
Well, yes, I believe this makes 11, isn't it, Abby?
No, dear, I think this is 12.
No, I think you're wrong, dear. It's only 11.
No, I remember when Mr. Hoskins first came in, it occurred to me that he would make an even dozen.
But I don't think we can count the first one.
Oh, I was counting the first one, so it's 12.
Hello. Oh. Hello. Oh, hello, Al. It's my, it's good to hear your voice.
So we're all down in the cellar.
Oh, no, Al, I'm sober as a lark. I just called you because I was feeling a little pirdillo. You wouldn't know Al. Look, Al, I'm glad you called. Get a hold of George right away. He's got to cover that play tonight. I can't make it. No, Al, you're wrong. No, Al, I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. Just get a hold of George. This is my department. I'm running it. You get a hold of George. All right. Let's see. Where were we? 12!
Well, yes, you see, Abby thinks we should count the first one, so that makes 12.
Well, right then. Who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley. He was a Baptist.
Yes, but you see, I don't think we should take credit for the first one because he just died.
Martha means without any help from us. Mr. Midgley came here looking for a room to rent.
That was right after you moved to New York.
And that beautiful room was up there going to waste when there were so many people who needed it.
And he was so lonely.
Oh, all his kith and kin were dead. He was so forlorn and unhappy.
And we felt so sorry for him.
And then when his heart attack came, and he sat there in this chair looking so peaceful. Remember, Martha, we decided then and there that if we could help other lonely old men to that same peace.
He fell dead, right in that chair. How awful for you.
Well, no, not really, dear. But you see, it was like old times. Your grandfather always had a cadaver or two around the house, and Teddy was already digging in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim.
And that meant he had to be buried immediately.
And so we all took him down to Panama, and we put him in the lock. And that is why we're telling you not to worry about it, because we know exactly what to do.
That's how all this started. That man walking in here and dropping dead.
Of course, we realized we couldn't count on that happening again.
So, do you remember all those jars of poison that sat on your grandfather's shelves for all those years?
You know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things. You've eaten enough of her piccalilli.
So you see, dear, for every gallon of elderberry wine, I put 1 teaspoon of arsenic, half a teaspoon of strychnine, and just a pinch of cyanide.
Should have quite a kick.
As one of our gentlemen found the time to say, how delicious.
Oh, well, I better get things started in the kitchen.
I wish you could stay for dinner.
I'm trying out a new recipe.
I couldn't even.
I'll come and help you, dear. Well, I feel so happy now. Oh, you have to wait for Elaine, don't you? Oh, I'll leave you alone with your thoughts.
No. Oh, it's you.
Don't be cross, darling. Father could see that I was excited, so I told him about us, and that made it hard for me to get away. But listen, darling, he's not going to wait up for midnight.
Elaine, you run along home. I'll call you up tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
No, I always call you up every day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
No, we're not.
Well, why not?
Elaine, something's come up.
What is it, darling? Mortimer, you lost your job.
No, I haven't lost my job. I'm just not covering that play tonight. Now, you run along home, Elaine.
But I've got to know what's happened. Certainly, you can tell me.
No, I can't.
If we're going to be married...
Married!
Have you forgotten that not 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did? Oh, well, as far as I know, that's still on. Now, you run along home, Elaine. I got
Listen, you can't propose to me 1 minute and throw me out of the house next.
I'm not throwing you out of the house, darling. Now, will you get out?
No, I will not get out. Not until I've had something.
Elaine! Hello? Oh, hello, Al. Can it wait a minute? Well, yes, it's important, but it can wait a minute, can it? Hold on. Look, Elaine, you're a sweet girl,
Oh.
and I love you. I love you very much. I love you so much. But I just have something on my mind, and I want you to go home and wait until I call you.
Ooh, don't try to be masterful.
When we're married and I have problems to face, I hope you're less tedious and uninspired.
When we're married, if we're married, I hope I find you adequate.
Are you the lady of the house?
Yes, I'm Miss Brewster. And this is my sister, another Miss Brewster.
My name is Gibbs.
Won't you come and sit down? Oh, we were just setting the table for dinner.
Hello, let me talk to Al again. City desk. Al! What? Oh, sorry, wrong number.
May I see the room?
Well, why don't you sit down first and let us get acquainted?
Well, that won't do much good if I don't like the room.
Is Brooklyn your home?
I don't have a home. Live in a hotel, don't like it.
Hello, city desk.
Do you consider Brooklyn to be your family, people?
I don't have any family.
Hello, Al. Mort, we got cut off. Look, Al, I can't cover that pen tonight. That's all there is to it. I just can't.
All alone in the world.
Yep.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Well, what's George doing in Bermuda? Well, certainly I told him he could go to Bermuda. It's my department, isn't it? Well, there's got to be somebody around the place. Who else is around the office?
What church do you belong to? There's an Episcopal one right down the street.
I'm Presbyterian. Houston.
Oh.
Well, there's got to be somebody around the place. How about the office boy? The bright one, the one we don't like? Oh, well, there's got to be somebody around. You look around the office and I'll hold on.
Is it always this noisy?
Well, he does not live with us.
May I see the room?
It's upstairs. Before we go up, why don't you try some of our wine?
Oh, I never touch the stuff.
It's elderberry wine. We make it ourselves.
Wine, huh? Well, I haven't had elderberry wine since I was a boy. Thank you.
Well, there's got to be some printers around. How about the fellow who sets my copy? He ought to know about what I write. His name's Joe. He's the third machine from the left. But now he might turn out to be another Burns Mantle.
Do you have your own elderberry bushes?
No, but the cemetery is full of them.
No, I'm not drinking, but I'm going to start now.
Do you serve meat?
Oh, we might, but first, let us know how you like our wine.
Mortimer.
Mortimer, not that.
Get out of here! You want to be poisoned? You want to be killed? You want the skin to be torn from your body?
Mortimer, now you've spoiled everything.
You can't do things like that. I don't know how to explain this to you, but not only is it against the law, it's wrong. It's not a nice thing to do. People wouldn't understand. He wouldn't understand.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
What I mean is, this has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to keep you from doing the things you like to do. I don't see why you should.
Hello? All right, fine. I'll see the first act and then I'll pay the hell out. But look, now, you've got to do something for me. Get a hold of O'Brien, our lawyer, the head of our legal department. Have him meet me at the theater. All right, I'm counting on you. Okay, I'm starting now. Look, I've got to go to the theater. I can't get out. But before I go, will you promise me something, please?
We have to know what it is first.
You know I will. And I know you love me. You know I would do anything in the world for you. I just want you to do one little thing for me.
What do you want us to do?
Don't do anything. I mean, don't do anything. Don't let anyone in this house and leave Mr. Hoskins. Right where he is.
Why?
I've got quite a lot on my mind. Got quite a little to think about. You know, I wouldn't want anything to happen to you.
What on earth would happen to us?
Anyway, you'll do this for me, won't you?
Well, we were planning to have services before dinner.
Services?
Certainly, you don't expect us to bury Mr. Hoskins without a full Methodist service, do you? He was a Methodist.
But can't that wait until I get back?
Oh, yes, then you could join us. Yes, you'd like the services, especially the hymns. Remember how beautifully Mortimer used to sing the hymns before his voice changed?
Yes! I'll join you, yes! But remember, you're not going to let anyone in this house.
Well,
It's a promise.
now that Mortimer's cooperating with us, we can agree to this. Yes, very well, Mortimer.
I've got some paper.
Oh, yes, here.
There's a man I've got to see. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Here's some stationery. Will this do?
That'll be fine. I can save some time if I write my review on the way to the theater.
Oh, Abby, Mortimer just did not seem himself today.
No, he certainly didn't, but I think that's natural. I think I know why.
Why's that?
Oh, he's just become engaged to be married. I suppose that makes a man nervous.
Well, I am so happy for Elaine, and a honeymoon should do Mortimer good. He hasn't had much of a vacation this summer.
No, I don't see why he had to go kiting off to those places like Spain and China.
Yes, I never understood why he wanted to go there either.
I think for Mortimer, the theater is pretty small potatoes. Mortimer needs something big to criticize. Something like the human race.
Oh. Abby, now that Mortimer is going to be joining us for our services, I think we will need another hymnal. I have one up in my room.
Oh, and dearie, it's really my turn to read the services, but since you weren't here when Mr. Hoskins came, I want you to do it.
Oh, Abby, are you sure?
Oh, it's only fair.
Oh, well, I will wear my black bombazine and Mother's old brooch. Oh.
Oh, who could that be?
We promised Mortimer we wouldn't let anyone in.
Well,
I'll look. It's two men. I haven't ever seen them before.
are you sure?
Well, there's a car at the curb. They must have come in that.
Let me look.
Do you recognize them?
No, they're strangers to me.
Well, we told Mortimer we would not let anyone in. Let's pretend we're not home.
Come in, Doctor. This is the home of my youth. As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape from this place. Now I'm glad to escape back into it.
Yeah, fine hideout, Johnny.
The family must still live here. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about the Brewsters. I hope there's a fatted calf waiting the return of the prodigal.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Look! Drinks!
As though we were expected. A good omen.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Aunt Abby. Aunt Martha. It's Jonathan.
You get out of here.
But I'm Jonathan, your nephew, Jonathan.
Who are you? You're not Jonathan. You look nothing like Jonathan.
But I am Jonathan.
No,
And this is Dr. Einstein.
and he's not Dr. Einstein either.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Herman Einstein.
Who are you? You're not our nephew.
I see you're
Jonathan.
still wearing the lovely garnet ring that Grandma Brewster bought in England. And you, Aunt Martha, still the high collar to hide the scar where grandfather's acid burned you.
His voice is like Jonathan's.
Have you been in an accident?
No, my face. Dr. Einstein is responsible for that. He's a plastic surgeon. He changes people's faces.
I've seen that face before. Do you remember when Junior took us to the movies and I was so frightened? It was that face.
No, Johnny, easy. Don't worry, ladies. The last 5 years, I give Johnny 3 new faces. I give him a new one right away. This last face, yeah, I saw that movie too, right before I operate. I was intoxicated.
You see what you've done to me? Even my own family doesn't recognize me.
Johnny, your home, this house. How often he talks to me about Brooklyn, this lovely house, and just 2 aunts that he loves so much. You, Johnny, you know it's Jonathan. Talk to him, tell him so. Yeah.
Well, Jonathan, it's been a long time. What have you been doing all these years?
Yes, where have you been?
Oh, England, South Africa, Australia. Well, the last 5 years, Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business there together.
Oh, we were in Chicago for the World's Fair.
Yes, we found Chicago to be very warm.
Yeah, it got hot for us too.
Well, it's wonderful to be in Brooklyn again. And you, Aunt Abby and Aunt Martha. You don't look a day older. Just as I remember you. Sweet, charming, hospitable. And dear Teddy, did he get into politics? My little brother doctor was determined to become president.
Oh, Teddy's fine. Just fine. And Mortimer's well, too.
I know about Mortimer. I've seen his picture at the head of his column. He's evidently fulfilled all the promise of his early nasty nature.
We're very fond of Mortimer.
Well, Jonathan, it has been nice to see you.
Bless you, Aunt Martha. It's good to be home again.
Well, we'd better go see what's on the stove so it doesn't boil over.
Yes, if you'll please excuse us, Jonathan, unless you're busy and in a hurry to go somewhere.
Oh, where do we go from here, Johnny? We gotta think quick. The police have picture of that face. I gotta operate on you real soon. We find some place. Oh, we gotta find some place for Mr. Spinalzo, too.
Don't waste any worry on that rat.
We got a hot stiff on our hands.
Forget Mr. Spinalzo.
Johnny, we can't just leave him in the rumble seat. Oh, why do I have to kill him, Johnny? He was such a nice man. He'd give us a lift, and then what? Me.
He said I looked like Boris Karloff. That's your work, Doctor. You did that to me!
No, we find some place. I fix you up real quick.
Tonight.
Oh, Johnny, please, no, I gotta eat first. I'm hungry. I'm weak.
Well, Jonathan, we're very glad that you remembered us and stopped in to say hello. We were never happy when you were in this house, and you were never happy in it either. So, we've come to say goodbye.
Aunt Abby, I can't say your feeling towards me comes as a surprise. I spent a great many hours regretting the many heartaches I must have given you as a boy.
You were quite a trial to us, Jonathan.
But my great disappointment is for Dr. Einstein. I told him that no matter how rushed we were in passing through Brooklyn, I'd take the time to bring him here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Oh. I'm afraid there won't be enough.
Oh, Abby, it is a good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast.
Oh, yes, it's the least we can do.
Thank you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay for dinner.
Well, we'll hurry things along then. Oh, Jonathan, if you need to freshen up, you can use Grandfather's old washroom.
Is that still here?
Oh yes, just as he left it in the laboratory. Well, I'll hurry things along.
At least we get a meal.
Grandfather's laboratory. And just as it was, Doctor, a perfect operating room.
Oh, too bad we can't use it.
Oh, when you're finished with me, why, we can make a fortune here. The laboratory, that large ward in the attic, 10 beds, Doctor, and Brooklyn is crying for your talents.
Oh, don't work yourself up, Johnny. Anyway, from Brooklyn, I think we're a year too late.
You don't know this town, Doctor. Practically everybody in Brooklyn needs a new face.
Yeah, but most of the older faces are locked up.
A very small percentage, and the boys in Brooklyn are made famous for paying generously to stay out of jail.
Oh, take it easy, Johnny. Your aunts, they don't want us here.
We're here for dinner, aren't we?
Yeah, then after dinner.
Leave it to me, Doctor. I'll handle it. house will be our headquarters for years.
Oh, that would be beautiful. This nice, quiet house. Those two sweet ladies. I love them already, Johnny. I get the bags out of the car, yeah.
No, Doctor, we must wait until we're invited.
But you just said
We'll be invited.
if they say no.
Doctor, two helpless old women.
Ah, like to come true, a beautiful dream. But this time I hope you're not dreaming, Johnny. Oh, it's so peaceful here.
That's what makes this house so perfect for us, Doctor. It is so peaceful. Yes, aunties. Those 5 years in Chicago were among the busiest and happiest of my life.
Yeah, and then from Chicago we go to South Bend,
They
Indiana.
wouldn't be interested in our experience in Indiana.
Well, Jonathan, you had a very interesting life, I'm sure, but we shouldn't have allowed you to...
By meeting Dr. Einstein, I say changed the whole course of my life. You know, I've been to South Africa, in the diamond business, then Amsterdam, the diamond market. I wanted to go back to South Africa, and Dr. Einstein made it possible for me.
Yeah, that was a good job, Johnny. When they take the bandages off, his face looked so different. The nurse had introduced me.
I love that face. I still carry the picture with me.
Well, this looks more like the way you used to look, but still I wouldn't know you.
I think we'll go back to that face, Doctor.
Yeah, it's safe now.
Well, I'm sure you want to get to wherever it is you're
Oh,
going.
my dear aunts, I'm so full of that delicious dinner, I'm unable to move a muscle.
Yeah, it's nice here.
Well, after all, it is very late.
I found it! I found it!
What did you find, Teddy?
The story of my life, my biography. Here is the photo I was telling you about, General. Here we are, President Roosevelt and General Goethals at Culebra Cut. That's me, General, and that's you.
Ooh, my, how I've changed.
Well, you see, that photo hasn't even been taken yet. We haven't even started work on Culebra Cut. We're still digging locks. And now, General, we go to Panama to inspect the new lock.
Oh, no, Teddy, not to Panama.
Yeah, we go some other time. Panama's a long way off.
Oh, nonsense. It's just down in the cellar.
The cellar.
Well, we let him dig the Panama Canal himself.
General Goethals, as President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy, and the man who gave you this job, I demand that you accompany me to inspect the new lock.
Teddy, I think it's time you went to bed.
I beg your pardon? Who are you?
I'm Woodrow Wilson. Go to bed.
You're not Wilson. Oh, but your face is familiar to me. Let me see. You're not anyone I know now. Perhaps later. On one of my hunting trips to Africa. Yes, you look like someone I might meet in the jungle.
It's your brother, Jonathan.
He's had his face changed.
So that's it. A nature faker.
Yes, and maybe you ought to go to bed, Teddy. Jonathan and his friend must go to their hotel.
General Goethals, inspect the canal.
Okay, Mr. President. We go to Panama.
Oh, bully, just bully. Oh, follow me, General. Down south.
Bon voyage.
Aunt Abby, I must correct your misapprehension. You spoke of our hotel. We have no hotel. We came directly here.
Oh, but there's a real nice hotel about 3 blocks down
Aunt Martha, this is my home.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, but you can't stay here. We need our rooms.
You need them?
We're our lodgers.
Are there lodgers in this house?
Well, not at the very moment, but we might have some soon.
Then my room is still free.
I'm sorry, it wouldn't suit Dr. Einstein.
He'll share the room with me.
Sorry, Jonathan, but you cannot stay here.
Dr. Einstein and I need a place to sleep. You remember this afternoon that as a boy I could be disagreeable. It wouldn't be pleasant for any of us if something would happen to you.
Well, maybe we ought to let them stay one night.
Very well, Jonathan, just for tonight.
That's settled. Now then, if you'll get my room ready.
Well, it just needs to be aired out.
We keep it ready for our lodgers. I'm sure you and Dr. Einstein will be very comfortable.
You have a most distinguished guest in Dr. Einstein. I'm afraid you don't appreciate his skill, but you will. In a few weeks, you'll see me looking like a very different Jonathan.
He cannot operate on you here.
When Dr. Einstein and I get organized, when we resume practice, oh, I forgot to tell you, we're turning grandfather's laboratory into an operating room.
Jonathan!
Expect to be quite busy.
I will not allow you to turn this house into a hospital.
A hospital? Heavens no. It'll be a beauty parlor.
Journey, turn this color.
Dr. Einstein, my dear aunts have invited us to live with them.
Oh,
Just for tonight, Jonathan.
Please get our room ready immediately.
For tonight.
Johnny, when I go down the cellar, what do you think I find?
What?
The Panama Canal.
Panama Canal.
It's just Mr. Spinalzo. It's a whole teddy dug, 6 feet long, 4 feet wide.
Down there?
Yeah, you knew we were bringing Mr. Spinalzo along with us. That's what I call hospitality.
Rather than joke, my aunts. They're living in a house with a body buried in the cellar.
Hey, how do we get him in?
Yes, we can't just walk him through the door. We'll move the car up between the house and the cemetery. And when they've gone to bed, we'll bring Mr. Spinalzo in through the window.
Oh, bed. We get a bed tonight.
Easy, doctor. Remember you're operating tonight. This time, you better be sober.
Yeah, I think you are beautiful.
Yeah, and if you don't, there will be some serious consequences, doctor.
Jonathan, your room is ready.
If you two can go to bed, we're moving the car up behind the
Oh,
house.
it's okay where it's at just for the morning.
I don't want to leave it in the street. That might be against the law.
Oh, Abby, what are we going to do? Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're not going to allow them to stay in this house more than one night. What would the neighbors think? People coming in with one face and going out with another.
No, Abby, what are we going to do about Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, Mr. Hoskins, I forgot all about him. Oh, the poor dear. And he's been so patient. We'll have to get Teddy to come up here and take him down to the canal.
Well, I will not invite Jonathan to the funeral services.
Oh, no, we'll wait until they've gone to bed, and then we'll come down and have the service.
The general is very pleased. He says the canal is just the right size.
Teddy, there's been another yellow fever victim.
Dear me. This will be a shock to the general.
Well, then we mustn't tell him.
But it's his department.
Oh, no, we mustn't tell him. It would just spoil his visit.
I'm sorry, Aunt Abby. It's out of my hands. He must be informed. Army regulations, you know.
Oh, we must keep it a secret.
Yes.
State secret.
Yes, a state secret.
Well, then you have the word of the president. Cross my heart and hope to die. Now then, how are we going to keep it a secret?
Teddy, you go down into the cellar after I turn out all the lights after it's all dark. And then you can bring the poor man down and bury him.
Yes, and we'll come down later and hold services.
Yes, so go along, Teddy.
You may announce that the president will say this. Oh, where is the poor devil?
Well, he's in the window seat.
It seems to be spreading. We've never had yellow fever there.
Now, Martha.
Yes.
When Dr. Einstein and Jonathan come down, let's see if we can get them to go to bed right away.
And then when they're asleep, and we'll be dressed in our funeral clothes and... Abby, I've never seen Mr. Hoskins.
Oh, that's right. You weren't here when he came. Well, just come and take a look at him now. He's very nice looking for a Methodist.
Oh.
Bringing the luggage through here.
Jonathan, your room is ready now. You can go right up.
I'm afraid we don't keep Brooklyn hours, but you two run along to bed.
Oh, you must be very, very tired, but we don't go to bed this early.
Well, you should. It's time I came home to take care of you.
No, we don't go to bed until...
And Martha, did you hear me say go to bed? The instruments can go to the laboratory in the morning, Doctor. Now then, we're all going to bed.
I'll wait until you're up there, and then I'll turn out the lights.
Another flight, Doctor. Run along, Aunt Martha. All right, Aunt Abby.
I'll just wait until you're up.
Now, Aunt Abby, turn out the lights.
All right, Johnny.
I'll get the window open. You run around and hand it through.
No, Johnny, he's too heavy for me. You go outside and push, I stay in here and pull. And then together we take him down the panel.
All right. I'll take a look around outside the house. When I tap on the glass, you open the window.
All right. Oh, God. Oh, ow. Okay. Johnny? Okay, Johnny. Alley-oop. Yeah. Come on. We get him in. Oh, careful, you lost the leg somewhere.
Be more careful.
Well, his shoe came off. I get him. I get him. Up you go. Oh, Johnny, I'm at the door. You go. Take care of it here. You go. Okay, in you go. You go in here. In you go. Stay here. I'll be back.
Doing here?
I came over to see Miss Abby and Miss Martha.
Turn on the lights, Doctor. You chose a rather untimely moment for a social call.
I think you'd better explain what you're doing here.
We happen to live here.
Well, you don't live here. I'm in this house every day, and I've never seen you before. Where are Miss Abby and Miss Martha? What have you done to them?
Perhaps we better introduce ourselves. This is Dr. Einstein,
Dr. Einstein?
a surgeon of great distinction, and something of a magician.
And I suppose you're going to tell me you're bored.
I'm Jonathan Brewster.
Oh. You're Jonathan.
I see you've heard of me.
Yes, just for the first time this afternoon.
And what did they say about me?
Only that there was another brother named Jonathan. That's all that was said. Well, that explains everything. Now that I know who you are, I'll just be running along back home. If you'll kindly unlock the door.
That explains everything. Just what did you mean by that?
I-
What are you thinking coming here this time of night?
I thought I saw someone prowling around the house. I suppose it was you.
You thought you saw someone prowling around the house?
Yes, weren't you outside? Isn't that your car?
Thought you saw someone in the car?
Yes.
What else did you see?
Just someone walking around the house to the car.
What else did you see?
Just that. That's all. That's why I came over here. I wanted to tell Miss Abby to call the police. But if that was you and that's your car, I don't need to bother Miss Abby. So I'll be running
What was the man doing in the car?
I don't know. You see, I was on my way over
I think
here.
you're lying.
I think she tells the truth, Johnny.
I think she's lying. Breaking into a house this time of night, I think she's dangerous. She shouldn't be let out around loose.
Take your hands off.
Doctor!
It's going to be a private funeral.
Hey, I'll friend who I am.
That's my daughter, Alice. John!
Let's go!
Hey, no.
What's the matter? What's going on down there?
We caught a burglar, a sneak thief. Go back to your rooms.
What's happening?
We'll call the police.
We've called the police. Go back to your rooms. We'll handle this. Did you hear me?
Oh, Mortimer, where have you been?
To the Nora Bay's Theater, and I should have known better. Thank God I'm still there.
This is your brother, Jonathan. That's Dr. Einstein.
I know this isn't a nightmare, but what is it?
I've come back home, Mortimer.
Who did you say this was?
That's your brother, Jonathan. He's had his face changed. Dr. Einstein performed the operation.
Jonathan. Jonathan! My God, you always were a horror. But do you have to look like one?
Mortimer, have you forgotten the things I used to do to you when we were boys? Remember the time you were tied to the bedpost? The needles under your fingernails?
My God, it is Jonathan. Yes, Jonathan. I remember you as the most detestable, vicious, venomous form of animal life I ever knew.
Now, don't you boys start quarreling again the minute you've seen each other.
There won't be any fight out loud. Jonathan, you're not wanted here. Get out.
Dr. Einstein and I have been invited to stay.
Not in this house.
Just for tonight.
I don't want him anywhere near me.
But we did tell them that they could stay overnight, and it wouldn't be very nice to go back on our word.
All right, for tonight. But first thing in the morning, out. Where are they sleeping?
I put them in Jonathan's old room.
Well, that's my old room. I'm sleeping there. I'm here to stay.
Oh, Mortimer, I'm so glad.
Johnny, we sleep down here tonight.
You bet your life you sleep down here.
Yeah, you can sleep on the sofa. I'll sleep on the window seat.
The window seat. Oh, well, that's not all you got. The window seat's good enough for me tonight. I'll sleep on the window seat.
You know, Johnny, all this arguing makes me think of Mr. Spinalzo.
Spinalzo! Well, Mortimer, it isn't necessary to inconvenience you like this. We'll sleep down here.
John, your son consideration for me is very unconvincing.
Johnny, come on. We go pack our stuff up now. Out the room.
Don't bother, Doctor.
By the way, Doctor, I've completely lost track of Mr. Spinalzo.
Who's this Mr. Spinalzo?
It's a friend of ours that Johnny's been looking for. I'll explain all about it when we come.
Don't bring anyone else in here.
You don't have to sleep down here. I can go in with Martha, and you can have my room.
No trouble at all, Aunt Abby. We'll be packed in a few minutes. Then you can have the room, Mortimer.
You just wasted your time. I told you I'm sleeping down here.
Mortimer,
What's the matter with you, dear?
I've almost been killed.
Almost been... Abby! Barbara!
Dear, he mistook her for a sneak thief. No, it was more than that. He's some kind of maniac.
Darling, you're trembling. Have you got any smelling salts?
No, but with some hot tea or hot coffee, do?
Some coffee, and make some for me, too. And some sandwiches. I haven't had any dinner.
Yes, we'll make some sandwiches.
Martha, we can leave our hats down here now.
Oh.
You weren't going out somewhere, were you? You know what time it is? It's after 12. 12? 11? You've got to go home.
What? But we were going to make some sandwiches for you. It'll only take a minute.
Yes, remember we were going to celebrate your engagement, and what I'll do is I'll make us a nice dinner and open up a bottle of wine.
All right. No wine.
Mortimer, what's going on in this house?
What do you mean? What's going on in this house?
You were supposed to take me to dinner and the theater tonight. You called it off. You asked me to marry you. I said I would. 5 minutes later, you threw me out of the house. Just tonight, after your brother tries to strangle me, you want to chase me home.
I love you so much. In fact, that I can't marry you.
Have you suddenly gone crazy?
I don't think so. It's only a matter of time. See, insanity runs in my family. Practically gallops. That's why I can't marry you, dear.
Now, wait a minute. You're going to have to do better than that.
No, dear. If you really knew my family well, it's what you'd expect if Strindberg had written Hell's Apollo.
Now, just because Teddy's a little different,
No,
it doesn't
it
mean...
goes way back. Take the first Brewster, the one who came over on the Mayflower. He was a violent man. Do you know those medieval torture devices like the Iron Maiden and the rack? Well, he had a collection.
Mortimer, that's ancient history.
No, whole family. Take my grandfather. You know, he used to test out his patent medicines on dead people just to make sure he wouldn't kill them.
He wasn't so crazy. He made $1 million.
And then there's Jonathan. He just said he was a maniac. He tried to kill you.
But that's your brother, not you. I'm in love with you.
And then there's Teddy, too. Well, you know Teddy. He thinks he's Roosevelt. No, dear. No Brewster should marry. I know that now. If I had met my father, I would have stopped him.
Now, darling, none of this proves you're crazy. Look at your aunts. They're Brewsters, and they're the sanest, sweetest people I've ever known.
Well, even they have their peculiarities.
Oh, yes, but what lovely peculiarities. Kindness, generosity, human sympathy.
There's another one.
There's plenty more, Mortimer. You can't tell me anything about your aunts.
I'm not going to. Look, Elaine, you've got to go home. Something very important has just come up.
Up from where? We're here alone together.
I know I'm acting irrationally, but just put it down to the fact that I'm a mad Brewster.
If you think you're going to get out of this by pretending you're insane, you're crazy. Maybe you're not going to marry me, but I'm going to marry you. I love you, you dope.
Well, if you love me, will you get the hell out of here?
Take me home, won't you? I'm afraid.
Afraid? A little walk through the cemetery?
Mortimer, will you kiss me goodnight?
Of course, dear. Good night, dear. I'll call you up in a day or two.
You critic.
Aunt Abby! Aunt Martha, come in here.
We'll be in a minute, dear.
Come in here now.
Yes, dear, what is it? Oh, where's Elaine?
I thought you promised me you weren't going to let anyone in this house while I was gone.
Well, Jonathan just...
I
walked
don't
in.
mean Jonathan.
And Dr. Einstein...
Don't mean Dr. Einstein. Who's that in the window seat?
We told you, Mr. Hoskins.
That is not Mr. Hoskins.
Who can that be?
You mean to tell me that you have never seen this man before?
Well, I certainly am. This is a fine how do you do. It's just like anybody can walk into this house.
My dear Aunt Abby, don't you try to get out of this. That's another one of your gentlemen.
Oh, Mortimer, how can you say such things? This man is an imposter. And if he thinks he's going to get buried in our cellar, he's very much mistaken.
Now, Aunt Abby, you admitted that you put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat.
Yeah, I did.
Well, this man couldn't have just got the idea from Mr. Hoskins. By the way, where is Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, he's gone to Panama.
So you buried him.
Well, no. He's down there waiting for the services, the poor dear. What with Jonathan in the house, we haven't had a moment. Oh, we've always wanted to have a double funeral. But I will not read services over a total stranger.
Stranger! My dear Aunt Abby, how can I believe There are 12 men in that cellar, and you admit you poisoned them.
Yes, I did. But you don't think I'd stoop to telling a fib? Martha!
Oh, Mortimer, I'd like to have a word with you.
Words about all the time you'll have for it, Jonathan, because I've decided you and your doctor friend are going to get out of this house just as far away as possible.
Well, I recognize the fact that you and I can't live under the same roof, but you've arrived at the wrong solution. Take your suitcase and get out!
Jonathan, you're beginning to bore me. You played your one-night stand in Brooklyn, now move on.
My dear Mortimer, just because you graduated from the back fence to the typewriter, don't think you've grown up. I'm staying and you're leaving, and I mean now.
If you think that I can be frightened, you think there's anything I fear?
I've lived a strange life, Mortimer, but it's taught me one thing. To be afraid of nothing.
Martha, just come in here and look at what's in this window seat.
Now, Abby!
Jonathan, let Aunt Martha see who's in the windows. Aunt Abby, I owe you an apology. I have some very good news for you. Jonathan is leaving. He's taking Dr. Einstein and their cold companion with him. Jonathan, you're my brother. You're Bruce. I'm going to give you a chance to get away and take the evidence with you. Can't ask for more than that. Very well. I have to call the police.
Don't reach for that telephone. Are you still giving me orders after seeing what's happened to Mr. Spinalzo?
Spinalzo?
I knew he was a foreigner.
Remember what happened to Mr. Spinalzo can happen to you too.
Why, hello, Officer O'Hare. What can we do for you?
Hello, Miss Abby. I saw your lights on and I thought there might be a disturbance in the house. Oh, but I see you have some company. Sorry I disturbed you all.
Oh, no. Come right in.
Yes, come in.
Yes, come in, Officer O'Hara. This is our nephew, Mortimer.
Pleased to meet you.
And that's another nephew, Jonathan.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Well, it must be nice having your two nephews visiting you. They're going to be staying with you for a bit.
I'm saying my brother, Jonathan, was just leaving.
Say, I've seen you here before, haven't I?
I'm afraid not. Jonathan hasn't been home for years.
Well, your face looks a little familiar. Maybe I've seen a picture of you someplace.
I don't think so.
Yes, Jonathan. I'd hurry if I were you. Your things are all packed anyway, aren't they?
Well, you'll all be wanting to say your goodbyes and all. I'll just be on my way.
Oh, what's the rush? I'd like to have you stick around until my brother goes.
I just stopped by to make sure everything was going okay.
We're going to have some coffee in a minute. Won't you join us?
Oh, I forgot the coffee.
Yes, and I will make some more sandwiches. I ought to know your appetite by now, officer.
Don't bother, really. I'm due to ring in just a few minutes.
Oh, you can't have a cup of coffee with us. My brother will be going soon. Here, sit down.
Say, have you seen a picture of your brother someplace?
I don't think so.
Well, he certainly looks familiar.
He looks like somebody you've probably seen in the movies.
Oh, me? I don't go to the movies. I hate them. My mother says the movies are a bastard.
Well, they're full of them. Your mother said that.
Oh, yeah. My mother was an actress, a stage actress. Perhaps you've heard of her. Peaches, Latour.
Sounds like a name I've seen on a program somewhere. What did she play?
Well, her big hit was Mutt Jeff. Played it for 3 years, and I was born on tour in the 3rd season.
You were.
Yep, Sioux City, Iowa. I was born in the dressing room at the end of the 2nd act, and Mother made the finale.
What a trooper. I bet there's a good story in your mother. You know, I write about the theater. You do.
Well, say, Mr. Brewster, you and me, we're in the same line of business.
We are?
Well, yeah, me. I'm a playwright. This whole being in the police force, that's all just temporary.
How long have you been on the force?
12 years. I've been collecting material for a play.
I'll bet it's a honey.
Well, it ought to be. With all the drama I see being on the force, Mr. Brewster, you have no idea what goes on in Brooklyn.
I think I have.
Say, what time is it?
10 after 1.
I gotta go ring in.
Oh, wait a minute, O'Hara. On that play of yours, I may be able to help you.
You would? Well, gee, it was my fate walking in here tonight, huh? Yeah, sit down. Let me tell you the plot to it.
Oh, you're on your way then, eh? Good. You haven't got much time, you know.
Well, everything's just about ready. Oh, Jonathan, you're leaving. Goodbye. And Dr. Einstein, goodbye. Doesn't this case belong to you?
Yes, Jonathan, you can't leave without all of your things. Well, O'Hara, it was nice meeting you. We'll meet again later and talk about your play.
I'm not leaving yet, Mr. Brewster.
I am not.
Well, you just offered to help me with my play, didn't you? You and me, we're gonna write this thing together.
You can't do that, O'Hara. I'm not a creative writer.
I'll do all the creating. You just put the words to it.
But O'Hara,
No, sir, Mr. Brewster. I'm not leaving this house until I tell you the plot.
In that case, Mortimer, we'll be running along.
Don't you try that. You can't leave yet. You can't go without taking everything with you, you know. Look, O'Hara, you run along now. Hey, my brother is just going.
I can wait, Mr. Brewster. Been waiting 12 years.
I'm sorry that it took so long.
Don't bring those in here. O'Hara, won't you join us for a bite in the kitchen?
In the kitchen?
Jonathan's leaving.
Well, yes, Officer O'Hara, in the kitchen.
You sure you don't mind eating in the kitchen?
And where else would you eat?
Bye, Jonathan. Nice to have seen you again.
Glad you came back to Brooklyn because it gives me a chance to throw you out. And the first one out is your boyfriend, Mr. Spinazzo.
Say, Mr. Brewster, you leave your talk right in here.
Coming right out.
I might have known you grew up to write a play with a policeman.
Get out now. All 3 of you.
Doctor, this affair between me and my brother has got to be settled.
Oh, Johnny, we got troubles enough now. Your brother gives us a chance to get away. What more could you ask?
You don't understand. This goes back a good many years.
Oh, Johnny, please. We go now, yeah?
We're not going. We're sleeping right here tonight.
Up in the kitchen, Mr. Spinaldo, in the window seats.
That's all he's got on us. We'll take Mr. Spinalzo down and dump him in the bay and come back here. And if he tries to interfere...
Oh, Johnny.
Doctor, you know that when I make up my mind...
Yeah, you make up your mind, you lose your head. I don't think Brooklyn's a good place for you.
Doctor!
No, Count, we gotta stick together. But one of these days we get stuck together. If we're coming back, we need to take these with us.
No, leave him here. Hide the instruments in the cellar.
Yeah.
Move fast.
Okay.
Mr. Spinalzo can go out the same way he came in.
Okay. Johnny! Come.
What's the matter?
You know that hole in the cellar?
Yes?
Oh, we got an ace in the hole. Come on, I show you.
Jonathan! Jonathan! Jonathan,
Yes, Mortimer.
where did you two go? I thought I told you to get out of here.
We're not going.
Oh, you think I'm not serious about this then, eh? You want O'Hara to find out what's in that window seat?
We're staying here.
All right then. You asked for it. This gets me rid of you and Officer O'Hara at the same time. Sir O'Hara. Come in here.
If you tell O'Hara what's in the window seat, I'll tell him what's down in the cellar.
The cellar.
There's an elderly gentleman down there who seems to be very dead.
You're down in the cellar.
What's he doing down in the cellar?
Now what are you going to tell O'Hara?
Your ass want to hear the plot too. You want me to bring him in? Yes.
You can't do that now, O'Hara. You got to ring in.
The hell with bringing in. Here, I'll bring him in right now.
No, O'Hara. We'll meet, you can't, not in front of all these people. We'll meet alone someplace later.
How about the back room at Kelly's?
Fine. You go ring in, and I'll meet you at Kelly's.
Why don't you two go down in the cellar?
That's all right with me. Is this a cellar right here?
No. You go to Kelly's and ring in on the way.
All right. That'll only take a few minutes.
I'll ditch this guy and be back in 5 minutes. I'll expect to find you gone. Wait for me.
We'll wait for him, Doctor. I've waited a good many years for a chance like this.
Yeah, we got him right where we want him. Boy, he looked guilty.
Take our bags back up to our room,
Thank
Doctor.
you.
Are they gone? Oh, we thought we heard somebody leaving.
Just Mortimer, and he'll be back in a few minutes. Is there some food left in the kitchen? I think Dr. Einstein and I would enjoy a bite.
You won't have any time. No. You would be gone by the time Mortimer comes back.
Oh, yeah. Motor will like it. Yeah, he's gotta like it.
Please get something for us to eat while we bury Mr. Spinalzo in the cellar.
Oh, no, you can't do that. You have to take him out of here.
There's a friend of Mortimer's downstairs waiting for him.
A friend of Mortimer's.
He and Mr. Spinalzo will get along fine together. They are both dead.
Oh, you must be Mr. Hoskins.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Hoskins?
You know about what's downstairs?
Well, of course we do. It's no friend of Mortimer's. It's one of our gentlemen.
Your gentleman?
Yes, and we will not have any strangers buried in our cellar.
But Mr. Hoskins.
He's not a stranger.
There's no room for Mr. Spinalzo down there. The cellar's crowded already.
Crowded? With what?
Well, there are 12 graves down there.
12 graves.
And there's very little room, and we're going to need it.
You mean you and Aunt Martha have murdered?
Murdered? Certainly not. It's one of our charities. It's what we call mercy. So you just take your Mr. Spinalzo out of there.
You've done that. Here in this house. And you buried them down there.
Oh, Johnny! We can take all around the world. They stay here in Brooklyn and do just as good as you.
What?
You got 12, they got 12.
I've got 13.
12.
13. There's Mr. Spinalzo,
Yeah.
then the first one in London, 2 in Johannesburg, 1 in Sydney, 1 in Melbourne, 2 in San Francisco, 1 in Phoenix, Arizona,
Phoenix?
the filling station. The 3 in Chicago, and the 1 in South Bend. That makes 13.
No. The one in South Bend died of pneumonia. He don't count.
He wouldn't have got pneumonia if I hadn't shot him first.
No, Johnny, he died of pneumonia. He don't count.
He counts with me. I say 13.
No, Johnny, 12. You got 12, they got 12. The old ladies are just as good as you are.
Oh, they are they? That's easily taken care of. All I need is 1 more to better my record, that's all. Just 1 more.
Well, here I am.
Lucy, just wait. We'll find out whose house this is.
Hasn't Mortimer come back yet?
No.
Oh, it's a terrible thing what they're doing down there, burying a foreigner with a good Methodist.
I will not have our cellar desecrated.
signature on Teddy's commitment papers.
Mortimer, what is the matter with you? Going around getting signatures at a time like this. Do you know what Jonathan is doing? He's putting Mr. Hoskins and Mr. Spinalzo in together.
Oh, he is he? Well, what? Is Teddy in his room?
Oh, Teddy won't be in any help.
If I can get his signature on these commitment papers, then I can tackle Jonathan.
Well, what do they have to do with it?
Had to go tell Jonathan about those 12 graves. If I can make Teddy responsible for those, then I can protect him, don't you see?
No, I don't see. And we pay taxes to the police to protect us.
I'll be back in a minute.
Come, Marco, we're going for the police.
All right, the police. You can't go to the police.
Why can't we?
Because if you tell the police about Mr. Spinalzo, then they find Mr. Hoskins too. And that might make them curious. And then they find your other 12 gentlemen.
Mortimer, I think we know the police better than you do. I don't think they would interfere with us if we asked them nicely.
But if they found the 12 gentlemen, then they'd have to report to headquarters.
Well, I hardly doubt that, you see, because they would have to make out a very long report, and if there's one thing police don't like to do, it's to write.
You can't depend on that. It might leak out, and then you couldn't expect a judge and jury to understand.
Oh, Judge Coleman would. We know him very well.
Yes, he comes to services every Sunday, correct, just before election.
Yeah, and he's going to come here to tea. He promised.
Yes, Abby, we must remind him about that. You see, his wife has died a few years ago, and he's so very lonely.
Come, Martha, let's go.
No, I'm not going to let you. You're not going to leave this house. And not going to have Judge Coleman to tea.
Well, if you're not going to do something about Mr. Spinalzo, we are.
I am going to do something. We might have to call the police in later. But if we do, I want to be ready for it.
You have got to get Jonathan out of this house.
And Mr. Spinalzo, too.
Please, just let me do this my own way. I'm going to see Ted.
Mortimer, if they're not out of this house by tomorrow morning, we're going to call the police.
Oh, they'll be out. I promise you that. Go to bed, will you? And for God's sake, get out of those clothes. You look like Judith Anderson.
Abby, that's a relief. Yeah, if Mortimer's really going to do something about it, well then, Jonathan's just gone to a lot of unnecessary trouble. I'd better tell him. Oh, Jonathan, you better stop what you're doing.
It's all done. Did I hear Mortimer?
Well, you're going to be out of this house by tomorrow morning. Mortimer's promised.
Oh, are we? Well, in that case, you and Aunt Martha can go to bed and have a pleasant night's sleep. Good night, aunties.
Not good night, Jonathan. Goodbye. You're going to be gone by the time we get up tomorrow morning. Mortimer's promised.
And he has a way of doing it, too.
Then Mortimer's back.
Oh, yes, he's up there talking to Teddy.
Goodbye, Jonathan.
Perhaps you better say goodbye to Mortimer.
Oh, you'll see Mortimer.
Yes, I'll see Mortimer.
Okay, it's all fixed up. Smooth like a lake. Nobody ever knows we were down there. Bed feels good already. 48 hours we haven't slept. We calm down, Johnny.
You're forgetting, Doctor.
But
My brother, Mortimer.
tonight, Johnny. No. Tomorrow, maybe the next day.
No, tonight. Now.
No, Johnny, please. I'm tired. And tomorrow, I gotta operate.
Yes, you're operating tomorrow, Doctor, but tonight we take care of Mortimer.
No, Johnny, not tonight. We go up, yeah?
Doctor, look at me. You can see it's going to be done, can't you?
Yeah, I see. I know that look.
It's a little too late for us to dissolve our partnership.
Okay, we do it. But the quick way, the quick twist, like in London.
No, Doctor. I think this calls for something special. I think perhaps the Melbourne method.
Oh, Johnny, no. 2 hours for what? The fellow in London was just as dead as the fellow in Melbourne.
We had to work too fast in London. There was no aesthetic satisfaction in it, but Melbourne, there was something to remember.
Remember, yeah, I wish I didn't. No, Johnny, not Melbourne, no, I won't do it.
Yes, doctor, where are the instruments?
No, I won't do it,
Get
Johnny.
your
No,
instruments.
Johnny.
Where are they?
I won't tell you.
You hid them in the cellar.
Johnny.
Where?
No.
I'll find them.
Johnny.
I'll find them, doctor. Find them.
Don't do that, Mr. President.
But I can't sign any proclamation without first consulting my cabinet.
But this must be a secret.
Secret proclamation, how unusual.
Japan mustn't know until it's signed.
Japan! Those devils! I'll sign it right away. You have my word. I'll inform the cabinet later.
Yes, let's go inside.
You wait here. A secret proclamation must be signed in secret.
But at once, Mr. President.
I'll go put on my signing clothes.
You go now, yeah?
Not now, Doctor. I'm waiting for something important.
You go now, please.
Dr. Einstein, you seem like a nice fellow. I have nothing against you personally. Now, take my advice and get out of this office and just as far away as possible.
In trouble, yeah. You go away quick. Go.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
I'm warning you, get out quick.
Things are going to start popping around here any minute.
No, listen. Johnny's in a bad mood. When he's like this, he's a bad man. Things happen. Terrible things.
Jonathan doesn't concern me now.
Oh, you know. Don't those plays you see teach you anything?
About what?
Well, at least those people in the plays act like they got sense. That's more than you do.
Oh, you think so, do you? You think people in plays act intelligent? But you have to sit through some of the ones I've had to sit through. Take the little opus I saw tonight, for instance. In this play, there's a man. He's supposed to be bright. He knows he's in a house with murderers. He ought to know he's in danger. He's even been warned to get out of the house. But does he go? No. He stays right there. Now I ask you, Doctor, if that's something an intelligent person would do.
You're asking me?
He didn't even have sense enough to be frightened, to be on guard. For instance, the murderer invites him to sit down.
You mean, won't you sit down?
Believe it or not, that one was in there too.
What did he do?
He sat down. Now, mind you, this fellow's supposed to be bright. So there he sits, just waiting to be trussed up. And what do you think they used to tie him with?
What?
The curtain cord.
Oh, why not? A good idea. Very convenient.
Little too convenient. When a playwright's going to use some imagination, the curtain cord.
You didn't see him get it?
See him? Sat there with his back to him. That's the kind of stuff we have to suffer night after night. And they say it's the critics who are killing the theater. It's the playwrights who are killing the theater. So there he sits, the big dope, this fellow who's supposed to be bright, just waiting to be trussed up and gagged. Stop!
You're right about that fella. He wasn't very bright.
Now, Mortimer, if you don't mind, we'll finish the story. Mortimer, I've been away for 20 years. And in all that time, my dear brother, were you ever out of my mind? In Melbourne one night, I dreamed of you. When I landed in San Francisco, I felt a strange satisfaction. Once more, I was in the same country with you. And now, Doctor, we get to work.
Please, Johnny, for me, the quick way.
Doctor, this must really be an artistic achievement.
Johnny.
After all, we're performing before a very distinguished critic.
Johnny, please.
Doctor!
Okay, let's get it over with.
All ready for you, Doctor.
I gotta have a drink. I can't do this without a drink.
Pull yourself together, Doctor.
I gotta have a drink. Remember when we come this afternoon, there was wine here, huh? Remember? And where did you put it? Ah! Yeah, yeah. See? I think we both need a drink. I share with you. Oh, yeah, I need a drink.
One moment, Doctor. Please. Where are your manners? Yes, Mortimer. I now realize it is you who brought me back to Brooklyn. Doctor, to my dear, dead brother. Damn that idiot. He goes next, that's all. He goes next!
Johnny, not Teddy, no. That's where I stop, not Teddy.
We get to Teddy later.
We get the Teddy there, no.
Now we gotta work fast.
Yeah, the quick way.
Yes,
yeah.
the quick way.
Hey, the girl's gotta quit blowing that horn.
It's all right, officer. We're taking the bugle away from him.
And it's gonna be hell to pay in the morning. We promised the neighbors he wouldn't do that anymore.
It won't happen again, officer. Good night.
I better tell him myself. Where are the lights again? Hey! You stood me up! Yeah, I was waiting for you outside Kelly's for an hour. What happened?
He was explaining this play he saw tonight, and that happened to a guy in the play.
They had this in a play that you saw tonight? Well, gee, they practically stole that from the second act of my play. In my second act, just before the... You know what, it's better I begin at the beginning. So anyway, it opens in my mother's dressing room, right? Where I was born, only I ain't born yet, Mr. Brewster. What? Oh. Nah, Mr. Brewster, you gotta hear this whole thing. So there she is. She's making up, right? When all of a sudden, through the door, in comes a man with a black mustache. So he walks in. He turns to my mother and says, Miss Latour, will you marry me? He doesn't know that she's pregnant. So anyway, there she is, right? She's lying unconscious across the table in her lingerie. And the gaucho, he's standing over her with a hatchet like this. And I'm tied up in this chair right here. Just like you are right now. And the place is inferno in flames. It's on fire. When all of a sudden, through the window in comes Mayor LaGuardia. Hey, just go easy on that thing. Who paid for it?
Yeah, I'm listening, ain't I?
You like it so far, huh?
Can't put Johnny to sleep.
Nah, let him alone. If he ain't got no more interest than that, then he ain't getting it. So anyway, it's 3 days later. I've been transferred and I'm under charges. But that's because somebody stole my badge. I'm walking my beat on Staten Island, 46th precinct, when a guy I'm following, it turns out, is really following me. Don't let anybody in. So I figure out I'm smart, right? There's this vacant house around the corner. I goes in, the lights go out, and I see the door handle turn. I pulls out my gun, I brace myself against the wall, and I says, "Come on in." Hello, boys.
What the hell is going on here?
Hey, Pat, what do you know? This is Latimer Brewster. He's helping me write my play, and I'm just telling him the story.
Did you have to tie him up to make a living?
Joe, you better call down at the station. The whole force is out looking for you.
They send you two here looking for me.
We didn't know you was here.
Oh, we came to warn the old ladies that there's hell to pay. The colonel blew that horn again in the middle of the night.
Oh, from the way the neighbors have been called out, you think the Germans had dropped a bomb on Flatbush Avenue.
And the lieutenant is on the warpath. He said the colonel's going to have to be put away someplace.
Yes. Well, gee, Mr. Brewster, it seems I gotta get going, so how about I tell you this third act real quick? Get away from me.
Dad, do you know what time it is? It's after 8 o'clock in the morning.
It is. Well, gee, Mr. Brewster, I know those first two acts. They do go a little long, but I don't see anything you can really take out of it. You can leave it all out.
Who the hell is this guy?
Oh, that's my brother.
Oh, the one that ran away. So he came back.
Yes, he came back.
Yeah, this is Brophy. Get me Mac. Yeah, tell the lieutenant they can call off the big manhunt. We found him. At the Brewster house. You want us to bring him in? No, we can hold him here. All right, Lieutenant's on his way over.
So I've been turned in, eh? All right, you've got me. And I suppose you and that stool pigeon brother of mine will split the reward. Reward? Now I'll do some turning in. You think my aunts are sweet, charming old ladies, don't you? Well, there are 13 bodies buried in their cellar.
Teddy!
What the
Teddy!
hell are you talking about?
And you better watch out what you say about your two aunts. They happen to be friends of ours.
I'll prove it to you. I'll show you. You come to the cellar
wait
with
a minute.
13 bodies. I'll show you where they're buried.
Oh, yeah?
You don't want to see what's down there in the cellar?
Why don't you go down in the cellar with him, Abe?
I'm not sure I want to go down the cellar with them. Look at that push. It looks like Boris Karloff.
Come on in.
The hell are you men doing here? Told you I was going to take care of this.
Well, sir, we were just about to take him in.
What'd he do? Put up a fight?
Oh, no, this ain't the guy that blows the horn. This is the brother, and he just tried to kill Klein.
All I said is he looked like Boris Karloff.
Turn him over.
See, we was kind of thinking that he's wanted somewhere.
Oh, you kind of think he's wanted somewhere. You men don't look at the flyers we hang up around the station. The least you could do is read True Detective. Of course he's wanted somewhere. In Indiana. He's escaped from the prison for the criminal insane. He's a lifer, for God's sake. That's how he was described. He looked like Karloff.
Was there a reward mentioned?
Yeah. And I'm claiming it.
Well, he was trying to get us to go down in the cellar.
He said there was 13 bodies down there.
13 bodies in the cellar. And that didn't tip you
Brewster.
Oh, yeah? Well, you're gonna have plenty of time to write your play. You're suspended! Now get back to the station and report it.
Think I could come over sometime and use the station typewriter?
No! Get out of here! You two! Take him somewhere else and bring him to. See what you can find out about his accomplice. The man who helped him escape, he's wanted too. No wonder Brooklyn's in the shape it's in. Bunch of flatheads on the police force like you guys. Imagine falling for a story like that. 13 bodies in the cellar.
But there are 13 bodies in the cellar.
Who the hell are you?
I'm President Roosevelt.
What the hell is this?
That's the guy that blows the horn.
Good morning, Colonel.
Well, Colonel, seems you've blown your last bugle.
Dear me, is that another yellow fever victim?
What?
All the bodies in the cellar are yellow fever victims.
No. This is a spy that we caught in the White House.
Well, you two get him out of here.
If there's any questioning of spies, that's my department.
And you stay out of there.
I'll have you know, as president, I'm also head of the Secret Service. Master, go!
Hello, Captain. I'm Mortimer Brewster.
Are you sure?
I wanted to talk to you about my brother, Teddy, the one who blew the bugle last night.
Oh, Mr. Brewster, we ain't gonna talk about anything. He has got to be put away.
Oh, I quite agree with you. In fact, it's all arranged for. I had these commitment papers signed by Dr. Gilchrist, our family physician. Teddy signed them himself, you see, and I've signed it as next of kin.
Where's he going?
Happy Dad.
All right? I don't care where he goes, as long as he goes.
Oh, he's going all right. But I wanted to talk to you about everything that's happened around here. Teddy's responsible for. Now those 13 bodies in the cellar.
Yeah. 13 bodies in the cellar. You know, it's not bad enough that all the neighbors are afraid of him, and he's disturbing the peace with that bugle of his. Can you imagine what would happen if that cockeyed story about 13 bodies in the cellar got out? Now he's starting a yellow fever scare. Cute. Hey, it's...
13 bodies in the cellar. Do you think anybody would believe that story?
hard to say. Some people are just dumb enough. Never know what some people will believe. About a year ago, I had this crazy guy start a murder rumor down in Greenpoint. I had to dig up a half-an-acre lot just to prove that he...
Will you excuse me?
Good morning, Mortimer.
Good morning, dear.
This is Mr. Witherspoon. Come to meet Teddy.
Meet Teddy.
Mr. Witherspoon's the superintendent of Happydale.
Oh, come right in. But this is Captain.
The lieutenant, Rooney. Real glad you're here, Superintendent. You're gonna have to take him back with you today.
Today?
No,
I had no idea. Lane, I have some very important business to attend to, so you run along home and I'll call you up. I had no idea it would be this immediate.
The papers are all signed. He goes today.
Complete insubordination! I'll have you men know I am no mollifier! When the president is treated as such, what's this country come to?
There's your man, Super.
Just a minute. Mr. President. I have some very good news for you. Your term of office is over.
Is it March the 4th?
Practically. died in Africa.
Bully, just bully! Now bring down my equipment immediately. When the safari arrives, tell them to wait. Oh, goodbye, Aunt Abby. Goodbye, Aunt Martha. I'm going to Africa. Charge!
Good morning, darlings.
Oh, we have some visitors.
Oh, yes, this is Captain.
Lieutenant Rooney.
How do you do, Lieutenant Rudy? My, you don't look like the fuss budget that all the policemen say you are.
Why the lieutenant is here? Well, you know, Teddy blew his bugle again last night.
Oh, we're going to speak to him about that.
I'm afraid it's a bit more serious than that, Miss Brewster.
And you haven't met Mr. Witherspoon. He's the superintendent of Happy.
How do you do, Mr. Witherspoon?
Are you here to meet Teddy?
He's here to take Teddy.
Now, darlings, the police have come to take Teddy today.
Oh, no. Oh, we can't separate from him.
I'm sorry, ladies. The papers are all signed, and he's going to go along with the superintendent.
We won't permit it. Oh, we'll take the bugle away from him, we promise.
Ladies, the law's the law. The papers are signed, he goes.
Well, if he goes, we're going too.
Yes, you'll have to take us with him.
Well, why not?
It's sweet of them to want to, but I'm afraid Happydale doesn't take sane people.
Mr. Witherspoon, if you will allow us to live there with Teddy, we will see to it that Happydale is left in our will for a very generous amount.
Oh, Lord knows Happydale could use the funds, but I'm afraid that
Ladies, let's be sensible, please. For instance, here I am wasting my morning when I got serious work to do. You know, there are still murders in Brooklyn to be solved.
Yes! Oh, pardon?
Besides, it's not the bugle blowing and the neighbors being afraid of it. It would just get worse. Sooner or later, I'd be put up to the trouble of digging up your cellar.
Our cellar?
Yeah, your nephew's been telling around that there were 13 bodies buried down there.
But there are 13 bodies buried down there.
Yes, and if that is the reason that Teddy has to go, you just come to the cellar with us and we will prove it to you.
Now, if one of them, Mr. Spinalzo, is going to have to leave, but the other 12 are our gentlemen.
I don't think that a lieutenant wants to go down in your cellar. He was only telling me that just last year he had to dig up a half-acre lot, weren't you, Lieutenant?
That's right, yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have to dig here. The graves are all marked. We put flowers on them every Sunday.
Flowers. What do you say, Superintendent? You got a room for these ladies.
You come down and we'll show you the graves. They're right down here.
I'll take your word for it, lady. I'm a busy man. How about it, Super?
yes, well, they have to be committed.
Well, Teddy committed himself. Couldn't they commit themselves? Couldn't they sign the papers?
Certainly.
Well, if we can go with Teddy, we will sign the papers. Where are they?
Yes, where are they?
He's coming around, Lieutenant.
Oh, how are you, Mr. Klein? Good morning.
Mr. Klein, are you here also?
Yeah, Brooke and me have your other nephew out in the kitchen.
Yes, I'm here.
And you here, Aunt Martha?
All right, Superintendent, can we get this wrapped up here? I'm ready to move on. The 13 bodies in the cellar.
I'm really looking forward to going. The neighborhood has changed, though.
Oh, yes, just think, we'll have a front lawn again.
Oh, dear. We've forgotten something.
What?
Yeah, we'll need the signature of a doctor.
Oh, Dr. Einstein, will you come over here? We'd like you to sign some papers. You just come right over, Doctor. You know, at one point last night, I thought the doctor was going to operate on me. Just come over here, Doctor. Just sign right here.
Are you leaving, Doctor?
Yeah, I think I must be going.
Oh, you're not going to wait for Jonathan?
I don't think we're going to the same place.
Hello, Elaine. It's good to see you. Stick around, won't you?
Don't worry, I'm going to.
Yeah, Mac, it's Rooney. Yeah, we got that guy out of Indiana. There's a paper on his accomplice over there, over on the desk. Read it to me, will you? Yeah, older fella. He's about 5'10", 170 pounds. White hair, brown eyes. Speaks with a German accent. Oh, goes around saying he's a doctor. All right, thanks, Mac.
It's all right, Lieutenant. The doctor here agreed to make the signatures.
Thanks, Doc. You're really doing Brooklyn a service.
Mr. Brewster, you'll provide the signatures as next of kin.
Oh, yes, of course. Right here?
Yeah, that's fine.
So that makes everything complete, everything legal?
Yes.
Well, aunties, now you're safe.
Ladies, will you be ready to leave soon?
Oh, Mr. Witherspoon, why don't you go upstairs and tell Teddy what he can take with him?
Upstairs?
Here, I'll show you.
No, Mortimer, you stay here. We need to talk to you. Yes, upstairs and to the left.
Mortimer, now that we'll be leaving, this house will be yours.
Yes, we want you to live here now.
Oh, no, darlings, I can't do that. This house is too full of memories.
But Mortimer, you'll need a place to live when you and Elaine are married.
Oh, dears, that is quite indefinite.
Oh, it's nothing of the kind. We're going to be married right away.
Mortimer, there's something we're really worried about.
Oh, darlings, don't worry. You're going to love it at Happydale.
Well, it's not that, dear. We know that we're going to be very happy. It's just that we don't want anything to go wrong.
Do you think they will investigate those signatures?
Oh, don't worry. They're not going to investigate Dr. Einstein.
Oh, but you see, dear, it's not Dr. Einstein's signature that we're worried about. It's yours.
You see, you signed as next of kin.
Why, yes, why not?
Well, Mortimer, there is something that we never wanted to tell you, but now that you're a grown man, and Elaine will need to know also, you are not really a Brewster.
You see, your mother came to us as a cook. And 3 months later, you were born. But she was such a sweet woman and such a good cook, we didn't want to lose her, so brother married her.
I'm not really a Brewster?
Oh, now, don't take it so hard, dear.
It won't make any difference to you, will it?
Elaine! Did you hear? Did you understand? I'm a bastard!
Well, I guess I will get breakfast started. Mortimer's coming over to my house. Father's gone to Philadelphia, and Mortimer and I are going to have breakfast together.
Yes, I need some coffee. I've had quite a night.
Well, then I would think you'd want to get to bed.
I do.
One moment, Witherspoon. Take this with you.
We don't need to wait for the wagon. The car's out front.
Are you leaving, Jonathan?
Yeah, there's some people in Indiana who are going to take care of him for the rest of his life.
Well, Jonathan, it's nice that you have some place to go.
We're leaving also.
We're going to Happydale.
This house has seen the last of the Brewsters.
Well, not unless Mortimer would like to live here.
I have a suggestion to make. Why don't you turn this property over to the church?
Oh, we never thought of that.
After all, it should be part of the cemetery.
I'm a busy man. Come on.
Goodbye, aunties. Well, I can't better my record now, but neither can you. At least I have that satisfaction. The score stands even, 12 to 12.
Oh, Mortimer has always been such a mean boy. Never could stand to see someone get ahead of him.
I wish there was some way we could show him he isn't so smart. Oh, Mr. Witherspoon, does your family live with you at Happydale?
No, I have no family.
Do you consider the people at Happydale to be family?
No. You don't quite understand. You see, as the head of this institution, I must remain quite aloof.
Oh, that must be very lonely for you.
It is. But my duty is my duty.
Well, since you won't be able to have a breakfast with us,
Oh.
perhaps you'd like to have a glass of our elderberry wine.
Very wine.
Yes, we make it ourselves.
Yes. Very wine. You don't see much of this these days. I thought I'd had my last glass of it.